Welcome back to the Brighter Side of Blue, our worldwide podcast. I'm Danny.
I'm Tommy.
I'm JJ.
Producer John.
Welcome back, Producer John. Our podcast is growing. We've added countries again. Norway and Sweden are now on the charts.
Isn't your daughter in Norway?
Shut up. Yeah, my daughter may be there listening to the podcast, but we still get credit for that, don't we?
Sure.
So it's true.
We
Sure.
got Norway. We came across
She's
the
passing
board.
it on. She's passing it on.
She's down there just, I'm sure, promoting it. Just going from bar to bar, just saying, you got to listen to my dad. You got to listen to my dad on this podcast.
And people are just saying,
Who's your
no.
dad? Right, I don't think so.
No comprende.
Hey, I added one more viewer,
What do you got?
Who you got?
Willie McGee.
Throw that picture up, Johnny.
Willie McGee's going to be a listener?
Yep. Actually, the other day, the day game, I was working it obviously I was in the dugout. He and I have a common friend, Jerry Lashock, and I talk. He's such a great dude. Willie just such a friendly dude. So he talked to me about Jerry, and he trains with Jerry, which is kind of funny because he boxes with Jerry. And late in the game, after the game was over, some of the young players came around him and they were messing with him, and he started doing his boxing, like put his elbows in, his fist up, like he was a boxer. It was very funny. But
My deceased mother-in-law's favorite player ever.
yeah,
Everything
So we
was Willie.
posted that on Facebook. Got a bunch of views, and one of the comments was that you used to do a Willie McGee imitation, and and that was from Bubba, and he said to try to do it, and I said, well, I think it's because they have similar necks.
So Bubba Worm told you that story?
Yeah,
So-
I do remember your Willie McGee, but you have to. It was his at-bats that you would imitate.
yeah.
Yes, I would do it.
Let's
We don't have the room
let's
to
skip
do
that.
Yeah.
So we're
I
gonna
got
skip
suspended 2 games in high school for doing behind my high school baseball coach. I was walking behind him doing the Willie McGee, and everybody on the team was laughing, and he didn't know it. He thought I was making fun of him. Told me to go sit back down, pinch hit for me, and sat me out 2 games.
Oh, wow.
So Willie McGee cost me 2
You
games.
still made it into the Hall of Fame, though.
At the Berg Hall of Fame, and I could have hit 2 more RBIs if I didn't get suspended 2 games.
But one of our former guests, Shane Monick, he saw this, texted me. That's his favorite player. Said if we ever get Willie on, let him know because he's got to be here. He says
There's a
he's
couple other comments on there with
Yeah.
people that was their favorite player.
yeah. Well, he's just a great guy. He's a salt of the earth. Is what Gus would say.
A great Cardinal.
Yep.
But one of the things that I want to get to is John received 2 phone calls over the weekend, and last weekend's episode was extremely popular. Great feedback, and we appreciate all you guys getting the word out there with our new sponsors and everything. I mean, we're really growing. And this podcast, we have a lot of fun up here. But John got a couple calls about after the last episode that were really cool.
Yeah, I had a close friend who lost a close friend, a good buddy, unexpectedly, and he just said that he took a couple days and didn't feel like talking to anybody, and he caught up on the podcast, and he said just the content and the humor and that just really cheered him up and got him into a good place, and the positivity of the podcast. So that's
awesome.
and the reason we're not really patting ourselves on the back, other than the fact that that's what we're trying to do with this thing. It's the purpose of it. You know, we're not.
And then John had another friend that was going through a battle with cancer that was driving home.
Yeah, and just took the time to listen to the podcast. It was kind of like I want to get my head in a good place and put our podcast on, and it really helped that person
And
also.
that kind of makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
100%.
We
We
keep
do
it
have
light.
a lot of fun, and
We're focused on our support of law enforcement, but we do have fun.
we hope other people that listen to us have fun at times. I know my wife said that when we all laugh, that she can't help but laugh. She doesn't even care if it's really that funny, but when we all laugh, it's just funny.
Yeah.
So, and we appreciate that kind of feedback, and so yeah.
That's pretty good story.
Can I promote one thing? I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No,
What?
No, a friend of mine and friend of all of us is Paul Drago and his wife Kim. They're doing a fundraiser for the Hero Network in honor of their son, Vinny, that passed away. And it's going to be September It's at the. Let me put my glasses on so I screw this up. I'll read this.
That'd probably be better.
That's really good. Yeah.
There we go.
Sunday,
Can't wait for the
Sunday, July 14th, noon to 6 at the Italian American Bocce Club, which is kind of appropriate.
Yep.
We talked about that. It's at 2210 Marcone Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. It's a bocce, I guess, bocce tournament in honor of Vinny. 50. There'll be all kinds of stuff there, cool stuff, and they're great.
Open to the public, obviously.
Yes.
And then, do they got a website or anything?
Oh, you ask me all kinds of tough questions now.
It's a neat event, and they raffle off all kinds of really
Starts at
unique things, and get together with your neighbors, and it's a fun thing that goes to a good cause.
well, the brochure doesn't say anything like that.
And then
It's
what
just
day is that again, Jimmy?
Sunday, July 14th, noon to 6. The bocce tournament starts at 1.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
Yep. Good people
we'll,
there.
We'll mention that on the next show, too. That's a good cause, and I like that.
Perfect. All right,
All
thanks.
you bocce players, head over to the hill.
Yep. Oh, I need to get to a correction from or not really a correction.
Addition.
An omission.
Addition.
An omission or an addition.
In addition to an omission.
We omitted it last week. Now I'm going to add it to this week.
You're fixing an omission.
Right, with an addition. But anyway, so last week there was Chris Pappas was telling that story and about the Fudo family murders. And at the beginning, and if you haven't listened to that podcast, you need to go back and listen to it because otherwise this won't make sense to you. However, when Chris was talking about the original scene at the Fudo home and all the pictures were taken off the wall and there was one picture left, we didn't really get into that as our interview skills still lack a little bit. But that particular picture was Emery Fudo's son that was left on the wall. The only picture left on the wall.
The rest of them were smashed to
Right,
pieces.
and yes, exactly.
Wow.
So, again, if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it.
And
like it.
And that's a clue.
That's a clue. You might be guilty.
And then after you listen to it, like it, and then subscribe to the channel, and then share it with people.
Okay.
And because liking our episodes is really important,
But
because it sends it gets it into an algorithm that really helps us out. So if you can take the time to just go click that thumbs up button, that really does help us out.
Very cool. Very cool. Today, you want to talk about who's coming up really quick on today's show?
Yeah, Brad Owens,
Yep.
U.S. Marshal, current U.S. Marshal. Had a great time with him. You know, as you guys know, we interviewed people the week before and then put it out. We had a really good time with Brad and talks about the loss of his really close friend, Nick Sloan. And we talk about his partnership with JJ. So that's coming up later. So stay tuned for that. And we got other stuff to get to before we get to that.
Yeah, but that's what's coming up. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Really not.
Is it AOC?
I was going to say
No.
same thing.
No. This is not political at all. It's
Yeah.
it's just the foundation of our podcast that we support law enforcement and we explain what law enforcement does on a daily basis. But recently, there was a tragedy in so many ways that St. Louis City PD had to use deadly force on a young individual. So that happened, and that's a tragedy.
happens.
It's a tragedy for the officer.
Yep.
The officer didn't go to work, and he doesn't desire to shoot somebody.
Yep.
Okay. It's a tragedy for the kid.
Yep.
Young. End of life. It's a tragedy for his mother, his family, and all that. It's just an all-around tragedy. But I want to set the table a little bit on these type of things. We've had Chief Speece on the show, and all of us are ex-law enforcement. JJ's still on. We know as a fact, all the data tells us that in any community, but we'll talk about St. Louis, there is a small percentage of people that do 98% of the bad violent crimes. A small percentage, okay? And producer John was in one of those units, the Violent Crime Task Force.
I was too, Dan.
Oh, you were there too? Okay. Yeah. You were a policeman?
It was a different. They did a different unit, but I
Okay.
after.
But
the fact.
getting to my point
Don't leave
was
me out.
you did a
Goddamn.
ton of intel research on identifying a small group. St. Louis is a safe city, except for what a small group of people puts on victims. each one of those people in that group, we just call them a group, a small percentage, hey, they all have names. They all went to grade school, high school. They all have moms. They all have family and this and that. And that's what makes it, that's what makes it stick out, is when one of them gets taken down, because they are the problem. When police officers sign up, they're to serve and protect. And unfortunately, right now, they're protecting against a small contingent of people. So when it goes south, and we are forced to use deadly force, there's this big uproaring, and the dialogue changes. A certain news station had on, they interviewed the mother of the one that just got shot, and she said, and the quote was, all they would have had to do is tell them to freeze.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
to freeze. So,
Wasn't there a long pursuit involved?
long pursuit.
So they all had
He was in a stolen car, armed with a gun that had a laser on it.
freeze.
During the time before multiple police officers turned their lights and sirens on, trying to pull him over, he was out doing robberies. They were out doing terrible things, creating more victims, and he didn't pull over, and he was. And so what my point is, the police were protecting us, the community, from him,
Right.
and it's unfortunate that his mom has to deal with that.
Well, I think big part of the problem is the people who have the voice, who are screaming about incidents like that, aren't the ones who are affected by the crimes that happen in those neighborhoods. They're people who are paid to do that. There are people who have a motive to do that. The citizens who live in these neighborhoods have the most to lose, because they have to deal with the aftermath. Once the cameras go away and microphones, they're still there in that neighborhood, and the police officers are still there, and they're there to protect people that they've never met,
Yep.
that live miles away from where they live a lot of times. And that's what I hope a lot of people realize is, just because a certain part of the community may raise their voice and say against this, there's a lot of people who are thankful that the police officers are there.
Protecting them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
100%.
that's my.
No, it was better. At least you got off the AOC thing. A little different. It was a little.
She just
different.
had to vote yes.
But it was still, you're always down with the police.
Down with the police.
There's those little things that get you, and it doesn't just get you mad. It's everybody. I shouldn't say mad. It just irks you a little bit.
I took offense that all
When you
we
hear
really had to do
silliness,
was say freeze. Really?
That right away just it puts the antennas up going. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
The freeze.
Six
we
police
chase this
cars with lights and
chase
sirens.
this motherfucker 6 miles, and now all we got to do is say freeze.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And I say that for humor. I don't obviously I call you my motherfuckers too. So.
we got a little.
Oh, I got a.
Go ahead.
So you remember? So I'm listening to the Pappas.
Yeah, lighten this up a little bit.
Doesn't sound like he's going to.
Episode, and one of the things Danny had mentioned to Chris is how he grabbed the gal that came by it and ended up being Nick Fudo's girlfriend.
She was outside the yellow tape,
Right,
and
exactly.
trying to get Chris's attention.
So anyway, that brought me to a story that happened to me back when I was a young officer in 3rd District. And I got a call for a shooting Saturday morning. It was up by SLU Hospital, in a nicer area of SLU Hospital, right there, in like 3800 block of whatever, right off of Grand. And get there, and it was a Vietnamese couple, and the male is dead on the floor, and the female is talking frantic Vietnamese.
You don't speak Vietnamese?
Not good. And so I don't know. I'm waiting. Obviously the guy's dead. She's screaming and hollering, and we just call homicide, and we're just putting a minute up. Wait a minute. Just we don't understand what you're saying. So the scene goes on, and getting the call. Now the homicide's there and everything, and they're in the house, and I'm outside the house now, smoking a cigarette, doing whatever I do, and a car pulls up right in front of the house, parks right in front, blocks the street, because it was one way, blocks the street off, and he gets out of the car, and it's another Vietnamese person. So, and he's speaking Vietnamese, obviously, and he's frantic, and I'm thinking, okay, this could be a family member,
Right.
whoever this is, obviously. But I don't need him in the middle of the street, so I'm shooing him off. I'm using this universal sign language.
Get back,
to
move.
move down the street, and now it's like he's screaming at me, and I'm using hand gestures to say, "Get the fuck down there, move the fuck on, go, get away." So now my lieutenant's out there, and he comes down, and it's Kenny Gable of the Elton John fame, and so he's down there. And now we're both trying to communicate with this guy to tell him, you can't be here in the middle of the street. He obviously wants to go inside, or he's trying to tell us something. And finally, as we're talking to him, he turns around and he puts his hands behind his back. That's a universal language.
You want to be handcuffed?
He wanted to be handcuffed.
He was confessing.
I think he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, good, Tommy.
So then I look in the car, and there's a Tech 9 on the front seat of the car.
Another clue. He gave you two good
At this
clues.
point, I'm not going to let him shoe anymore. I'm not trying to shoe him off.
This is your best pinch.
But no, due to my extreme knowledge in evidentiary procedures,
Yeah.
I knew not to touch that gun.
That's huge.
I was
Or
like-
throw it away, like you did.
like the purse.
Like the purse.
I'll put it in the purse.
Put it in the purse and throw it in the dumpster.
No, I just said don't touch that. I think Gable got the pinch
He did.
because I was doing the gun thing. I got a gun over here. I think Gable actually pinched him. He was a lieutenant at the time.
That's good.
Pinched him is arrested him.
Arrested.
Didn't
I think
pinch
that's
him.
common
Yeah,
knowledge.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Put it out there.
Don't
We
assume
don't use
anything.
the word pinch like the East Coast uses pinch all the time.
Well,
We don't use the word.
we've
we
never
gotta
used the
be
word
pinched
perp
together.
either. New York uses perps.
Yeah.
Never use perps. I like that. We're gonna start. I'm gonna try to implement the perp thing.
That was good.
Oh, hold on a second. So Greg Colombo
Oh, Jesus.
came in before as I was walking in here to say hi to everybody and come in, and Greg Colombo tells me, he goes, "You need to ask Danny a story about a customer they used to have that you and him did not see eye to eye, and that you got a call and he had possibly defecated in a car."
Oh.
Is this the? Never mind.
Did
Was it
Greg
Jimmy
set
the-
you up for this?
They just told me to ask you. I want the story.
Back in the day, Columbo's it wasn't really a police hangout as much as it is now. It was a bunch of working class people, but there was a guy named Danny. I won't say his last name. His name was Danny. My name's Danny, and he hated my guts. He found out I was a policeman, and I'd belly up to the bar, 4 or 5 people down, and he never missed an opportunity to flip me off or get up and move away. He hated my guts, and I never had 4 sentences of conversation with the guy. He didn't like my long neck, obviously.
He didn't like the police.
Didn't like the police,
Double whammy.
but he hated my guts, Danny. And he was a slight gentleman. I don't think I would have had a problem with him, but he just had a nasty venom to him.
Angry.
Angry.
Rode around with a horn.
Yeah, just angry. So one night I'm working 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'm in a regular patrol car, and Frank Seork was one of my partners usually, but this time we're separated, and he's driving the paddy wagon, the cruiser, the van that transports prisoners. And we get a call for an accident up on McCausland. We get up there, and the one person involved in the accident is outside the car trying to get information, and Frank and people are there, and they're saying that the guy in the station wagon, he hit her, and he won't come out of his car. He won't roll down his windows, and he appears to be drunk. And so I get up there, I look up there, and I go, "It's Danny." It's Danny. So I went up and knock on the window, go, "Danny, what's going on? You hit this lady." And he flips me off. He won't roll the window. And it goes on for 5 minutes. And I'm like, "Danny, you got to, there's no way this is going to end. Your car won't drive. You're in an accident. You're drunk. You got to come out." Flip me off. Wouldn't come out.
How'd you get him out?
I smashed the window open with my Kel-Lite,
Uh-oh.
opened the door,
Shit's about to go down.
got Danny out. The lady was injured. It was serious. He was drunker than a hoot owl. I get him in my, I get him in handcuffs. I put him in the back of my patrol car.
Uh-oh.
And Frank Seork comes up.
Uh-oh.
And I'm getting the information for the accident. I'm gonna have to write a DWI, book him for that. And my assist car, Frank Seork, comes up, and I said, "Hey, Frank, he's in the back seat if you want to throw him in your van to transport the prisoner." He goes, "Okay, I will." I'm getting the information. Frank goes to my car, and I thought he's taking him out, putting him in the cruiser, and then pretty soon Frank's at my shoulder, and I see Danny still in the back of my car. And I don't understand. I don't understand why. Get all the information. I go, Frank, you're not going to take him? He goes, no. I go, why not? He goes, he shit himself all over your car. And I'm not putting him in
Danny wasn't playing.
And I'm not putting him in my
He's-
van.
oh.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm just 2 years on at the time. I had to drive to the station with the window down, with my head out, hanging out the window to breathe. And the entire time, Danny's in the back, laughing loud,
Gotcha.
flip me off. He wouldn't flip me off, cussing me out, saying, I shit my all over. It was disgusting. Disgusting. Ruined the car, to take it to the garage, get it all cleaned up. That was 2 weeks later. He's out of jail, whatever. He's up at the a bar. I come in for a beer. He's in there. And all his buddies are slapping him 5, pointing at me. I shit your car.
Hey,
Terrible story. It was just
so
a
Greg
bad
also
night.
told me to ask you, do you know how he died?
No. I knew he died, but I don't know how he died.
He died shitting on the toilet.
He did?
He died on the toilet.
I'm not going to say anything about karma because I don't really believe in karma. Does anybody believe in karma? But
A little bit.
Greg
know.
said he died shitting on
are
it.
you serious?
And he goes, but you need to tell Dan. He was about to tell you how he died. He died shitting on the toilet. Died on the toilet.
Well,
Karma's a bitch.
all I got to say, he shouldn't have done what he did to me because that was rude, if you ask me. Anyway,
bit.
you got me all wound up now, and now I need to knock it down a notch.
Yeah, come on. Here we go.
I just feel stressed out, John.
Come on.
Hey, I got to.
Do you have anything over
I
there?
do,
that
and I got to
you-
apologize to my neighbor who gave me last week's Zen and Jeff Steggy. Gave it to me. I forgot to give him props. But anyway,
Oh, so
I got a new one now.
But
It's time for some
I
Zen,
think Woody
John.
was a good one. I think Woody.
I only laid it up like 7 minutes.
Yeah,
before
John's over there.
John was over there
He's looking at you
sleeping.
like, what the fuck
He was
are you
looking at
talking
the
about?
Sibo's Pizza, which is one of the best pizzas in the city. But John,
Good.
I'd like to put a plug in for Sibo's Pizza.
Come on, JJ. Give us something
Okay,
good.
the music.
Go ahead.
John was slow on the trigger.
He was a little bit.
No, I had to put a plug in for Sibo's Pizza.
Surrender to what is. Let go of what was. Have faith in what will be.
All right.
No, what was that?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need.
Yeah, because
I'm really getting tired of doing it twice.
There's a
but
lot of words there.
Not really. Surrender to what is. Let go of what was. And have faith in what will be.
Yeah, I think the way you said
Maybe
you
I-
weren't hesitating. You just said surrender to what is.
That's bullshit.
Twat.
I did it perfectly twice. Maybe.
I think it's a good one.
Tw-
Who gave us
Hey.
that one, JJ?
That was Colonel Quinn gave me that.
That was
Oh,
good.
wow.
Do it one more time. Surrender
Are
to
you serious?
what is.
You just want me to screw it up. That's why you're going to do it.
Slow down on the words.
Surrender to what is. Let go of what was. Have faith in what will be.
That's awesome.
Live in the present. Be
like it.
positive.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jack cut out the first two. That was my best one. I'm
Yeah,
just
that
kidding.
was your best one. That was good. That was there. That was very clear. Colonel Quinn gave you that?
Yes, he did. And that's a good one. And actually, we've been here a long time already tonight. So this is like 2 hours into our podcast. So and I think I did well, if you know
We
what I
have
mean.
rules. He likes to get it early.
Yeah, that was good, though, JJ.
He
You are
likes-
correct.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, next week we'll be having Gus Terragrossa on, owner of Gus's Fine Fashions, St. Louis legend. And let's just say it was an interview.
It was colorful.
Hey,
Very colorful.
Hey, before are we getting ready to sign off?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I
was
got a
good.
lot of stuff to get
Okay.
to. We got a lot of stuff to get
I
to.
just want to say I talked to Brad Owens, who we're opening for.
Why don't you wait to?
I will. I'm just saying, don't forget.
Right, we're gonna set it up.
Okay, good. Go on.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Well, we've been going on for a long time already, so I'm thinking
Yeah,
we're
well,
getting.
Yeah, we're-
the next thing we got to do, we ain't leaving it. Well, the other thing I want to mention is we had two really nice videos kind of take off this week.
Yep.
And it's
Oh.
the one video that we showed last week with the Hawk Tua and the wife afterwards.
Yeah.
3 million views.
Really?
People think that's funny. And I put it on my TikTok, and I felt bad for the wife because you could tell she was being facetious and trying to make it funny.
Right.
Some of the comments were just blasting this guy.
Yeah,
People
you
have no
can't-
sense
you
of
can't
humor.
listen.
I mean,
listen to
you
that.
could tell that she was making it to be funny.
Right.
In response to that, and I'm just glad that the comments came to me and not her. I guess she got some too.
I'm still waiting on my hat to come in the mail.
The Hawk to a Hat.
Did you really
You
buy
were
one?
pretty fired up about that.
What videos do you have?
Oh, dude. So we have to do the YSL update.
Update.
So the YSL Young Thug trial has taken a little pause. Woody, our man Woody. Woody did about 17 hours. I said 3 hours last week. Woody's done 17 hours of taped confessions with the police. 17. So right now, the judge has called off the next 2 weeks of trial. They're not having any testimony in the trial until July the 8th. So right now, they're going through 17 hours of tape to decide what the jury can listen to. And as we know, Woody's gained fame. So this is just a little update that I found on the internet that is a little entertaining. So
Give us an update.
Yep.
It's just nothing but redactions, man. Y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all run this one up, yo. I'm just a messenger. I knew YSL Woody wasn't nothing to play with when he got in the pool with tube socks on. Huh? Talk to me. I knew YSL Woody wasn't nothing to play with when he got in the pool with tube socks on. Huh? That man this whole time, y'all was sitting up there in that interrogation room playing them videos. He's saying, oh man, he's scared to go back to his neighborhood. Not only did he go back to his neighborhood, he's sitting in the ops territory pool with tube socks on. Okay? Day 97, Judge Glanville, he done flipped the script. Y'all missing some shit, man. So Judge Glanville today, the state attorney was trying to object to stuff that the defense attorneys was saying, and Judge Glanville said, hold on now, I'm not just going to redact everything y'all say, prosecutors. He said, if I'm doing that, I might as well not be no trial judge. Well, who the fuck is this? Where your ass been at for the other 96 days? I don't know who the fuck Judge Glanville went golfing with this weekend, but somebody told him he better get his shit together because that writ that they sent in, apparently that shit moving numbers. So I don't know. He might be worried.
So that's just the update. So the writ he's talking about is they filed a writ of mandamus, I think, and it's to just So it's remember last week I told you that they had that meeting in the judge's office.
Yeah.
So they want this trial a mistrial now, because that's apparently just like a red
Big
flag
faux
mistake.
pas. Yeah.
So they filed to go right to the Supreme Court to get it for them to declare a mistrial. So that's the writ he was talking about, and this thing is and another.
Hey, I just want to say, I went down your rabbit hole.
No, dude, is it the best?
It's definitely entertaining, but the thing is that I find it's unreal how unprofessional that courtroom is. We've all been in trials, federal trials, state trials. There's not a judge that I ever met in my whole life would let the shit that goes on with this. It's crazy. It's so funny, but
The Jerry Springer.
it is 100%. That's a great analogy. It's crazy though. It should be a mistrial and put it with a competent judge and a competent prosecutor, because neither of them are
But
competent.
those RICO, like we said last week, those RICO trials are nothing to joke with. And you got people on there that aren't really, 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 really good at their job.
If this is their best prosecutor, I don't even know her name. If this is their best in Atlanta, Atlanta's in bigger trouble than St. Louis, dude.
You got some hate mail because we didn't say exactly what RICO stood for. We know what RICO cases are.
We've been throwing out some bullshit for 32 shows now. And the only time that we get fact checked is when I comment on the YSL trial. Trying to tell me that I said that Young Slime Life, and they said, no, it's Yves Saint Laurent. So that's that clothing. And, well, now they're claiming, the defense attorneys are claiming that it didn't mean Young Slime Life. It meant Yves Saint Laurent.
Yeah, right.
No kidding. And then I said that the record label was YSL for Young Stoner Life, so they changed it for the record label. Got fact checked on that. So we've decided, after I called these guys, we decided to get a correspondent. So we'll be announcing that correspondent in a week.
So we can get
with
some
more
street cred.
Yeah.
Because you have zero.
I got a 50-year-old white dude.
But you were right. You were
But I'm
correct.
probably of the four of us, I think I got more. I'm the blackest of us all. I'll say that.
I'm not touching that.
I'm
Me
not
neither.
touching that.
Right.
Were you well hung?
Other than that,
I do want to thank Woody for modeling my tube socks in the swimming pool. Those were producer John's socks.
They were
Those would
producer
be
John
good.
socks.
Yes, you can get them on my website.
And Woody's just a character, and Woody's one of them kind of guys that
Woody.
no matter where he's at, he's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you do when you have problems, Danny? Call
Well,
Corbel.
if you wanna be safe.
Campbell Security Group.
Yes.
.com.
Absolutely.
So you like got a Woody at work, fire Woody. You know Woody might come back, do something stupid. Call Corby. You got one of them Woodies that's running around your neighborhood. You want to keep your neighborhood a little better. Call Corby. Yes, Woody. Woody is Woody and his type.
Woody's everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta be aware of these people.
JJ's got a Woody in his pants.
Oh, you had to go there. Where did that come from?
I don't know. That sounds like something Joe Speech
How
will
old are
say.
you again? What's a,
Don't
feel
call
like I'm in the basement in high school.
Now, hey, let me ask you about Woody again. You think
Right, yeah, no,
Woody?
but-
You think
but to
Woody's?
finish the thing is-
He's off for 2 weeks. Where's he at?
Woody was. I guess he's hanging out in the pool.
I know. So he's.
Socks on.
I can't believe he's not under witness protection.
Well, he doesn't say anything. So anytime I've seen Woody on some social media things. So apparently he's got a gag order. It's just him like flashing money, flipping people off. Shit like that.
Still, they know
Things
he's.
things that you would think Woody would do.
Oh, geez.
But if you have any Woodies in your life or want to get them out of your life, I would call Corby Campbell.
Yeah. Very good. Very
CampbellSecurityGroup.com.
good call.
You know what I mean? That's what I would do.
Good call. Are we moving on to Brother John?
Which one?
If he's sitting on a...
Oh, I would imagine he's got something.
John, do you have a newsroom.com
Come on,
over
man.
there?
I do. It's went back to 1904 last week. I'm going back further to 1890,
Holy cow.
and this is about the Dalton gang.
Dalton's.
The Daltons, yes. It was, it was Bob and Emmett and Gretton Dalton. They, they like a lot of the outlaws back in the day. They started as lawmen, but they started stealing horses to supplement their income, and then that led to robbing trains and stagecoaches and whatever. So they end up becoming criminals. So. So they decided, to get ambitious, and they lived in Coffeyville, Kansas, at the time when this happened, and they decided to rob 2 banks at the same time. They figured, because it was the 3 brothers, and they had 2 other guys that were with them. So they figured between the 5 of them, these banks across the street, they could hit them all at the same time, and double their, their outcome. So, great idea, pretty ambitious, but it's kind of stupid when you do it in your own hometown where everybody knows you, right? And they, didn't take into effect that the day of the robbery, they had the street tore up in front of these 2 banks. They were doing repairs. So they had to park their getaway horses like half a block away.
Getaway horses, huh?
Well, anyway, so they went out and they got some half-ass disguises, which were just like little, like fake mustaches that they made themselves. Well, everybody recognized them, right? So, 3 of them went in the First National Bank, and 2 of them went into another bank called Condon and Company across the street. Well, everybody knows it's them. They see them running in there with guns. So the citizens all go home and arm themselves. So they go in. They got like 20 grand out of the First National Bank. They didn't get anything out of the Condon and Company Bank. Well, when they come out, the neighbors, the citizens, just light them up and kill all of them,
All 5 down.
except for one. One of the brothers, the Dalton brothers, lived through it and then going to prison for like 30 years. And when he came out, he thought that he realized that they had written some stories about the Dalton gang, thinking, well, we were heroes, we were outlaws. Well, all the books that were written about them were a bunch of dumbass
The stupidest robbers ever.
Yeah, so they didn't get anything out of it. So,
Seahorses of the 1900s.
Yeah.
so it was ill planned, and if you hear these stories about the Dalton gang, they're just a bunch of dumbasses. So don't give them any credence.
So
That's
the
a
Dalton gang
1890.
has been exposed.
1890.
$20,000 in 1890. That's a lot of money.
They didn't get nothing from the other bank. That's some badass planning.
That's some terrible planning.
Badass planning.
Terrible planning. You know, instead of those horses, if they would have had Fords, Jeeps, or Dodge vehicles from Schicker Automotive,
Instead of some raggedy ass horse, they could have had a Mustang.
they could have had
Right.
Yeah, they could have had Mustangs. Yeah, from Schicker Automotive Group.
Great group.
One of our new sponsors. In fact, let me use your cheaters because producer John gave me some things. We always said that the Schicker Automotive Group has more events at their places than, I don't know, than Forest Park.
And they take part in other events too,
Yep.
which in the neighborhood, and they really support the neighborhood.
Well, this weekend, it's the Macklin Mile down in South City,
Yep.
Macklin Avenue. They're going to have one of their Ford Broncos down there as a pace car kicking off the Macklin Mile race.
Come on now,
Yeah.
pace car.
And Schicker's mobile service van is also going to be down there on display. Contact Schicker Service the team to come to your work or home to do an oil change, and they use the Schicker mobile service van to come to your house or work to change your oil.
They
It's
just
awesome.
do it all.
And then also once a month, you go down there and you test drive a car, and for every car you test drive, they give off $25 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's once a month on a Saturday.
And they support the police, something fierce, and first responders and military.
And if
And
you go
that's-
down there and you tell them you're law enforcement, military, first responders, you get a discount. But
Damn
if you
right.
mention the brighter side of blue, they double the discount.
Yeah.
No, that's true. What? No, they
Whatever.
said they
I don't
agreed to
think
this.
that's
You were at
true.
the
They
meeting,
match
JJ.
it,
You were
Huh?
which
there.
is a double, right? You were at the meeting, right, JJ?
Yeah, yes.
You were listening to it like you normally
Yes,
listen to it.
but I don't think
anything
that-
over 4 minutes.
But I don't think that was your ad. That
But they agreed to it.
I don't think there was a handshake on that one.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe.
Oh,
It's
go-
true.
Give it
But,
a
hey,
try.
but the small. Okay, yeah, give it a try.
Give it a try and let us know. Emails and let us know if it worked.
I guess
Because we
what-
can't remember what they committed to.
So we got hollered at by Greg Colombo last week because we said that we would have a Grady Judd. You know, Grady Judd is America's sheriff,
Yeah.
and that's what we claim he is. And but he's always got something good to say that just kind of makes you feel good. And after John's story there, that town needs a Grady Judd. Everybody needs a Grady Judd in their town. And this is what we picked out this week for Sheriff Judd, and we're going to try to get him on the show. We got to get him on the show, right? You think?
Oh, heck yeah.
No doubt.
Hit it, Johnny.
Listen, that's a bunch of hooey. That soft and cuddly feeling. We're going to hug a thug, and if we give them, another popsicle and an icy and a day out at the park, they're going to be good. Y'all need to wake up. These dudes are taking y'all for fools. These are hardcore gangsters, gangbangers. They'll eat your ice cream on Saturday and shoot up the rivals on Saturday night.
That's my boy.
You're here.
That's my boy.
Can't disagree with him. That's
All
for
right,
sure.
No,
Jay-
hold on a second now.
Oh,
One more
you know.
thing.
Here
Is
we
that
go.
now? Let's after listening to that.
I feel like I'm a horse on a leash.
I found I got pretty high. I got pretty high earlier. So anyway,
Obviously.
I found this after listening to him say "hooey."
Yeah.
So I found this little clip that said these are the best words ever. So you got bamboozled, flabbergasted, discombobulated. Who used that word?
Woody.
Damn right he did. Shenanigans. Love the word shenanigans.
Yeah, that's one of your favorites.
That cattywampus. That's a good one. Lollygag. I don't know about that one.
Your career.
Fuck off. Malarkey. I don't know about that one.
No, that's not a good one.
That's a bunch
Kerfuffle.
of malarkey.
Kerfuffle.
That's.
Ruffles good.
Kerfuffle's good.
I don't like that one.
Brouhaha.
I like that.
Means the same thing as.
I like this one. Nincompoop. That's underused.
It is.
Nincompoop could be used more. Skedaddle. I don't know about that one.
That's what you told the Vietnamese guy that was trying to confess.
And
Skedaddle.
And
Take
that
your
guy-
Tech 9.
that Danny guy nincompooped in the back of the We gotta use all these in this thing.
And the last one is tomfoolery. I like that one.
That's
That
because
one's always a
that's your
solid
name.
one.
That's your middle
So-
name.
Yeah.
So Grady Judd made me look up some of the better words. And
I like the
because
Grady Judd.
I did like his. What he say? You don't even remember.
I don't
do you?
remember. I left.
Hooey.
Hooey. That's a bunch of
Forgot to.
hooey.
I
Hey,
forgot to.
I had to leave. If you saw me walk away, because there's pizza over there, it looks so good.
I know, it's
So I ate a piece.
Yeah.
But when I came back, I had all the cheese in my mouth.
Yeah. Is that when you did the Zen? You couldn't
Yeah,
Zen?
no, the Zen was good.
The Zen was really good.
Thank you. It was after the Zen, so I had to
Can we
leave
go eat
twice.
pizza now?
I know. Who
No
do we
kidding.
have coming on?
Well,
JJ had something
JJ,
to
I
say.
think we're going to let JJ set this up.
No,
I agree.
Brad Owens was, as we said, he's a U.S. Marshal now, but he was grew up or went to the 8th District early, where JJ kind of
Yep.
started. But then after the 8th District, and then something horrible happened in the interim that you guys will hear about. But then him
Like-
and JJ became partners. So you set this interview up.
I just talked to him. I talked to him the day before I went on, and before he came on here today. I wanted to say, hey, because I thought he did a great job last
did.
week.
He had a great time.
He was my partner for 6 years, and just a solid, loyal guy. Love him to death. He's a great marshal. He's a big shot supervisor now. He's really well respected in that community. But he called me and he says, I called him and said, hey, you want me to say anything? Might have forgot. You get going to the interview, you kind of forget some things. And we were actually talking afterwards. Well, man, I wish I would have said that and this. Well, he said, yeah, there's one thing I wish I would have said. And he goes, but you probably won't say it. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I just want to say, when I got down there, I was a new young policeman, 3 years on. It's pretty intimidating coming to that unit with a bunch of veterans. I know you'd rode with Jimmy. He was Jimmy Long, and he was a hard guy, filling his shoes. And he says, but I just want to say, you took me in with no problem, and you were a great mentor.
Uh-oh.
So I just want to say, I just want to repeat that. I was a great mentor.
You just want to pat yourself on
Yes, and that's why he said. That's what he said. He said you probably won't say. Well, he said you probably won't say.
2 degrees from JJ.
Well, he said you probably aren't going to say it. And I go, bullshit. I'm saying that by the way. I go, yeah.
Did Jack just turn off his mic?
Did you,
Producer Jack just turned off his
Dan? Really? I just, you mother. No,
He's putting on those
that was
Zen.
good. Brad said I wouldn't say it, and I said, bullshit. I'll say it. You said I was your mentor. I'm running with that.
That's good.
All right, good job.
Maybe you can have a podcast down the road and mention it
Good
again.
tooting of thy horn.
I had to, for Danny's sake.
No, great.
Yeah, right
interview.
on- right
we had
on
a lot
cue.
of fun. Again, it was to start off a little serious, and then the fun will be had.
Well, I told him
Enjoy.
today he was the.
Enjoy. All right, as promised, we're back at the brighter side of blue with our special guest from the U.S. Marshals Office, Tommy Lee Jones. No, just kidding. Brad Owens, 14 years as a U.S. Marshal, 9 years as a St. Louis City copper, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, you rode with JJ?
It'd be me.
I did.
Yep. Yeah, I was a training officer for federal agents. Jimmy Long was my first partner down there, DEA agent. Brad comes around, arrived in how many years? 6 years?
6.
6 years. He's a federal marshal supervisor, just like Jimmy is in DEA.
And then there's you.
And there's me, still down in the basement of Columbo's, getting beat up by my friends here every week.
Doing Zen moments that you steal from people.
My highlight of the week is my Zen.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. Yeah. Tell us something good,
Me or Brad?
Brad. No,
Okay.
you're a regular. So
Well, okay. No, let me set him up.
yeah, set
Brad
him
and I
up.
were partners in Mobile Reserve. Everybody knows who that is by now if you listen to the show. He and I were partners right after, I guess, Jimmy Long. I had an interim partner, I think some guy named Steve Dodge for a little bit. And then Brad came around. So Brad's had a good career and was a great officer and SWAT guy. Brad, it's on you. What do you got, brother?
It was a great 6 years that I had down there. Probably the
Best, right?
best time of my life for sure.
Are you going to let him finish all your sentences? Just 'cause you,
I'm kind of scared
Owens
what
got
you're
a
going to
little
say.
hurt last week with Joe McCullough beating up on SWAT, so now he needs a hug.
If you look at his shirt, he's got an old SWAT shirt on there.
Yep.
Yeah, more
How many of
on
those
the
you got?
I got 2 or 3 left
Yeah,
still.
I'm sure.
That's too loose. Those guys wear it a lot tighter.
Yeah, no, I don't have these tailored like most of the guys.
Yeah,
do.
the tailored T-shirts down at SWAT. Yeah.
I wasn't big into the head nod either.
You weren't into the head nod?
Not really. There were some guys, but I wasn't one of those.
JJ was ahead now.
I don't know. I think there's rumors that I started it, but that's a lie.
I think you might have. You had a lot to do with the furtherance of it.
Could be.
So you were roommates with Nick Sloan?
I was.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So back in, I got on the department in 2001, and I had an apartment for about 2 or 3 years. But in December of 2003, my apartment got broken into. And Nick and I were already friends. We worked in the 8th District together, worked in Weed and Seed, and we also grew up one subdivision apart as kids. So I basically had known him my whole life. So when I had the apartment that I had was by the brewery, the back door got kicked in. Nick went and got a piece of plywood. We put up the plywood on the back door, and he's like, "Just come and stay with me until we can get this figured out. You can get another apartment or whatever."
Hold on one second, Brad. I just want to interrupt, and it's a good interruption, I promise.
We'll
Nick
be-
Sloan,
we'll
who
decide
he was
that.
talking about, was killed in the line of duty, and I just want to set that up
That's
for the people
good.
that might not know. And Brad came out as a young police officer, and that's why Danny asked that he was about Nick Sloan. So that's why I just want to set that up.
Yeah, so Nick had a baby. He had a girlfriend. They were living together down on Tyrolean. And he's like, "I got an open room in the basement. Come stay with me till after the holidays. And then you can move out, get an apartment or whatever you're going to do." So I did. Stayed with him for about a month. And the morning that he was killed in the line of duty, we were going to go to the gym. He decided he was going to go in and write reports on Weed and Seed overtime, asked me if I wanted to go. And we had a rough night the night before. I got in full pursuit. It was freezing cold. So I sat that one out. Nick and Gabe Keithley went in just to write reports. And the next thing I know is I'm coming out of the gym as my phone had blown up. I had so many voicemails and text messages. I couldn't believe it. So I listened to the first one. The first voicemail that I got was actually from Dan Drago, who is a retired sergeant from the police department, to let me know that Nick and Gabe both had been shot. I didn't know anything other than that at the time, and that I needed to get to Barnes Hospital as soon as I could. So like I said earlier, it was icy, cold, snowy, so I'm driving. I wanted to go change before I went to the hospital. I ended up wrecking my truck. And then another 8th District officer, Chris Nazette at the time, he came and picked me up, dropped me off, and we went to the hospital. That's when I found out that Nick was dead, and Gabe was in surgery up on the 12th floor. So.
And you were tight with them through, you talked about the Weed and Seed, and you guys all worked closely together while you were down there, and that was in the 8th District?
It
correct?
was.
We want to explain what Weed and Seed is?
It's a federal program. It's grant money that's provided from the federal government. They do community programs. That's the seeding part, where we go to meetings with the neighborhood residents and talk to them about what we're doing, ways we can improve the neighborhood. And then obviously the weeding is to get the drug dealers off the street and try to improve the neighborhoods. And then the 8th District actually had 3 of them at the time, neighborhoods that we were involved in.
And I can remember after the incident is when I met you, and that was your really, 3 years on, you kind of realize that the police department's a family. But then when an incident like that happens, you can really see it. I know that you still remain friends with all those guys, and they really help you get through it, and you help those guys get through it too.
Oh, absolutely. It was an interesting experience when I got dropped off at the hospital, because there were policemen lined up on both sides of me as I was walking in, and I was alone, and nobody could look me in the eye, but you could just feel that, the sympathy, because everybody knew that Nick and I were close and had been. And they actually all knew that he had passed away before I did. So I knew right then and there what was going down. I didn't know about Gabe's condition yet. I was going back and forth between the families at the hospital because, like I said, Gabe was in surgery up on the 12th floor, and his wife was at the hospital, but she was in a separate area from the Sloan family. And so I would go up to the surgery or to see how he was doing, and then I would go down and finally went in, got to see Nick in the morgue. Like Sergeant Drago at the time was guarding his body, so I got to go in there for that portion of it. And then the rest of the time, I was pretty much with Kay Keithley, who is Gabe's wife, and because there were no other family members there with her. His family was in Louisville, Kentucky, and hers was up in Jacksonville, Illinois. So.
In talking to Gabe, and Gabe is a friend of ours too, just for the listeners. And Gabe tells a story that Colin Rumsa, you guys remember Colin?
Yeah.
And I think he's out in Jeffs County now, but he was on the motorcycles then, and this happened in January. So, and Gabe's parents lived in Kentucky, so they were about 4.5 hours away. Well, they got notified, and they were coming in. Well, Colin Rumsa in January on a motorcycle, and starts heading their way, and ends up meeting them, halfway, and then turns around and escorts the family in on a motorcycle in January. And like you said, it was snowy.
It was nasty.
And that's just kind of
You know,
cool
since-
stuff that can happen in dire times. And I think you saw that over the years, Brad, is just to come to get together as you guys get to and have not celebrations over the years, but fundraisers, and it really helps you guys get through it. And you can talk a little bit about that. Your hockey.
Yeah, well, and the backstory on Colin, so Gabe and I actually graduated from the academy together, and Colin was our class supervisor. So we were all intertwined. Colin yelled at us quite a bit while we were in the academy.
I can understand.
But as when we graduated and this incident happened, that was huge that he did that. Gave Gabe's parents an escort back, and it was freezing cold. I don't even know how he made it back. But yeah, since then, with the fundraisers, the support from the police department, and just the help that I got getting through that, I probably didn't deal with it how I should have. Looking back, with the counseling and the EPP and all this stuff that's available to you, but work was what got me through it. I was miserable at home, but when I went into the office and got in that police car, that's when everything was okay. I actually got Officer of the Month for February right after that, because I just put my heart and soul into doing the job and making Nick proud, because we were so close. And
I think it's important, since we went down this road, and producer John was extremely close with Nick's parents. But since we went down this, John, can you give a synopsis of actually what happened at 725 North Taylor when Nick was killed?
Yeah, it was a cold day. It was icy. It had just snowed, and I guess Nick and Gabe got a tip that a guy that they were interested in, a drug dealer, was going to be there with some narcotics on him. So they tried to get a crew together, but like Brad said, they weren't even supposed to work, right?
Our sergeant had got hurt the night before in a foot pursuit, and we weren't supposed to be on the street that day.
Yeah, so they went up there. 725 North Taylor is a liquor store, and I've never read the report. I just heard it through Terry Sloan, Nick's father. But they went up and approached this guy. They figured they had the drop on him, that they would grab him and get the drugs and arrest him. But the guy wanted to fight. It was hard to fight because it was icy out. It was a parking lot. And during the course of the struggle, Nick lost his gun. Nick got shot. But first, Gabe got shot by the bad guy, who wasn't armed at the time. But he was disabled, during this struggle to get Nick's gun away. And then, Gabe got shot. Nick got shot. Gabe was able to return fire and hit the guy, the suspect, and he died at the scene, the suspect did. So, and so when you talk about Gabe Keithley, and he'll say it, it's the three worst things that can happen to a policeman all happened in 1 second. You take a life, your partner loses his life, and you get shot all in a couple seconds. So,
Right.
So yeah, it was probably the worst thing that happened. Well, I know it is the worst thing that happened while I was on, because it was just a horrible police shooting, and two, I knew Nick when he was a little kid, and Terry Sloan, his father, was my sergeant in Mobile Reserve,
And one of your best friends.
and one of my best friends. So it was really hard.
Yep, that was a bad day.
And you'd always remember where you're at when certain things happen. And
Yeah.
And I was down at the U.S. Attorney's office when I got the call. And I worked for Terry at the time. And so it was a pretty rough day. Yeah. But like I said, though, the support, and we've become close to, all of us have become close to Gabe since that incident. And the support that we all give each other at that time is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I got one thing to say. Can we get a cheerier topic to talk about?
I know. Let's go.
We're about to move on to you riding with JJ. This should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been blessed though. I had two good partners. I've had my last two partners was Jimmy Long, which I had a blast riding with every day, and then to get two partners like that, I got Brad, who was fun, and we worked secondary together, and he was just became close to the family too. I've been blessed. I got two great partners, and one of them sitting right next to me now.
And both of them left the department after that.
Right. That was their
Did that seem strange to you?
It is. Did you call it coincidence?
It's a coincidence.
But no, Brad and I had a good time, and we talked about before we got on some of the funny stories. Like, tell some good stories. But the thing, when he got down there, I was a veteran, so I got this young guy.
Gotcha.
But I was trying to be a cool guy, and I said, hey, we get a guy with a gun, you say, is Gary working? And we get you find a guy with drugs, say, is Dave working? So it kind of give us a clue. So if you search a car and you say, hey, is Gary working? And
You mean when you're searching a car and you find a gun, you kind of say something so your
you had a
partners
code.
know you
Give
got
me a
your
code. It was a little code, right.
I'm just trying to clarify.
okay,
Because I
that's-
never got a gun.
Right.
Yeah, right. So
Gary.
So we get it. So we
Got a guy named Gary, though.
So we literally just got we got some Garys and Daves, but
Yeah, a lot of them.
But hopefully everyone's clear on this. But so Brad and I wasn't that clear, and I told Brad about what we should do. Our very first stop, right? It was on West Florissant.
Yep.
You want to finish this story?
Searching a car, find a gun inside there, and JJ's dealing with the suspect, and I say, Gary, hey, Gary, and JJ's looking.
But he said, he's supposed to say, is Gary working? He says, Gary. I go, I know. Is Gary working or what? He goes, I don't know. I'm asking you, is Gary working? I'm like, oh, shit, I got a gun. So I had to put cuffs on him. So, but
he's the one that taught me the codes.
Actually, I came up with that day. Jimmy Long and I never used that before, but I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good idea. I'm an idea guy. Yeah. So we would use it. We used it. So one day we got a guy out, and I look up at Brad and I said, hey, is Gary working? And then the guy just took off running, dude. And then we started laughing. Well, I don't even think we chased him. We said, no. I guess everybody else knows our code.
It's not that hard of a code to figure out.
I guess they figured our code out. We got to change it up. But as soon as I said, is Gary working? The guy went, whoom, and took off for a
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Did you get his name before that? Was it
No,
No,
heck no.
no.
It was quick. But it is what it is.
Seize that.
We made a lot of great rests together.
Yeah, it was great because going down to Mobile with only 3 years on, it was, for me, it was an honor. There was so many great policemen down there, and I knew of Jimmy and JJ riding together, and the shoes that I had to fill with Jimmy, and they had a great reputation. But so many other guys like Matt McDonough, Bill's brother. I know Bill was on recently. And
It was quite the crew.
it was quite the crew, and especially our squad, led by Scott Boyer. It was,
We're trying to get him on. He'll be great on.
yeah, he would be
would be
great.
great.
He was a great mentor to me, and I learned a lot down there. But it was
Can I tell the one story that I think is one of both our favorites for us?
yes,
So we're driving together, and we're riding down North Broadway, and we make a left on Canaan, which is a pretty hot street. So we go up, make a left turn, about a few houses up. There's about 3 or 4 kids sitting on the front porch, and it's a vacant. So we stop to interview them, talk to them, and see what they're doing. And as soon as we got out of the car, one guy takes off running. Like a couple of them take off running through the gangway. So I run through the gangway, chase him up the alley. Brad's trying to chase the other alley. I'm not sure where. I chase him up this alley. It's kind of an incline hill. He makes the corner, and he disappears. I don't know where. So I'm walking back. I'm aggravated because I'm walking down, and there's a gun laying in the alley, just sitting there. I'm like, this guy just dropped his gun, and we lost him. So
Is Gary working?
Is Gary working? I go, Brad. Gary's working.
Gary! Gun, Gary!
But this was good policing on our part. So we grabbed the gun, and we decided we're going to go down. We're going to cross the street on Broadway and see if we can see the alley that he ran up. So we get our car, and we're in a marked car, but we park across the street in this little park, right?
Yep.
And we can see the alley perfect. We get out, he gets his binoculars out, he's watching. So I get the binoculars, and I'm watching. I'm like a control freak, I guess, a little bit. So I'm watching the hill. I'm watching, see if this guy's going to, we figure this guy's going to come back and try to get his gun, right? I swear to. So I'm looking at these binoculars for like 20 minutes. Finally, I go, he's like, well, let me look. So I
He
get
had the
it.
caps on still.
Right. It was dark. It was really dark. It was so dark.
can't see.
No, you can't see.
He's not coming back.
So I hand Brad the binoculars. He takes the caps off. No. So but literally, I give him the binoculars, and I swear, this is how he gets binoculars. He looks in them and says, someone's walking down the alley. And I go, you're so full. Nope. He's walking. He's looking for something. He's looking for the gun. I go, you're full of it. And I go, give me them back. So I look. Sure enough, there's a guy. He's a young kid walking. He's looking. You can tell he's looking for the gun. So Cliff Summers, right?
Yeah, it was
he was parked on a couple of streets. I don't know who his partner was.
Matt Elder.
Matt Elder. So they're going to take Caden. We're going to go down the alley where the guy's walking. So we zoom up. Guy takes off running, runs past them. They chase him. They catch him a few blocks away. Sitting on the porch, sweaty, out of breath. They grab him back over to us, and he's like denying it. This ain't my gun. This ain't my gun. I'm like, come on, man. You know it's your gun. He goes, I was with my girlfriend. You can call her, and she'll verify everything. So I'm getting to the point where this guy's so adamant it's not his gun. I'm thinking, go ahead.
The good part about it was a Dirty Harry revolver.
Oh.
This gun was very
Right.
44
distinguishable.
Magnum.
It was
Yeah.
huge.
The most
Very
powerful
Very,
handgun
very,
in the
very,
world.
Distinctive.
very distinctive.
gun, yes.
So he says, I call my girlfriend. She'll tell you I was with her. I go, all right. So I have his phone. He goes, no, don't use my phone. Use your phone. I go, what do you mean use my phone? So it's a flip phone. I flip it open. The screensaver, I didn't know he had screensavers back then. The screensaver is him posing with this gun. So I look at the picture, and I look at the kid, and he goes, damn. And
Don't call my gal. You call my gal.
So that was our arrest. That was
Did you call that guy Dirty Gary?
You know what? I should never told that story, the first one.
Yeah.
No, it was
Nah, it's
good.
fine.
That's gonna. You know that dirty is Gary working is one of the worst code words, but I think I had the worst when I was in Vice Narcotics.
Helps?
No. Almost as bad. Almost as bad. There was a narcotic house. There's guns and prostitutes and dope inside there, and I had a couple prostitutes that got me in. They said they can get me in there to buy some dope. So I'm all wired up, the old style Kells that
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're like as big as this.
Scared?
Yeah.
Like,
With primitive wires.
See this.
And, Detective Eli Moore says, okay, what's the code we're going to be? I go, I don't know. What do you think we should be? And he says, his name's Eli. He says, Eli's coming. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to work that into a sentence undercover?
Like a Three Dog Night song?
Yeah.
They'll
So-
think you're Eli talking in the third person.
Yeah.
Eli coming.
So long story short, these two prostitutes get me in there, and they're smoking meth, they're doing crack, and I sit on the couch amongst all of them, and this guy passes me a crack pipe. He goes, "Take a hit." I want to know if you're cool. I go, "I'm cool, but I'm high right now. I don't need nothing." He pulls out a pistol and points right at me. He goes, "Take a hit of that." I go, "Eli's coming!" And the doors came crashing in. They threw a brick through the window and this and that. So it worked out pretty good. I found a way to get it in there.
Well, how was the hit on the crack pipe? Was it pretty good?
I haven't stopped yet.
Eli, just get the fuck in here. Let's skip the code word.
I wasn't in there for 20 minutes. Eli's coming. Oh, Jesus. Anyway. All right, what else you got?
No, Brad, I want to ask him how.
Getting his mark.
What was the big factor of you going to the federal marshals?
Get away from me.
Other than that. Other than that.
naturally.
And then what was the process and kind of take us through that?
So at the time, JJ and I actually both were talking about taking the sergeant's test, and we were kind of studying for that. So
I did good. He didn't. No.
Yeah.
So
Obviously.
at about the same time, I got a call from a friend of mine I went to college with who was also a marshal in St. Louis, and he said, if you're interested in going to the feds, we're hiring 500 people, so put in an application. So I did that. In my mind, I was happy where I was. I loved being in mobile at the time, and I was going to take whichever one came first. I was either going to get promoted in the city or take the marshal job. So I went through the process. They offered me a position in Kansas City, Kansas, so I took it and left, went down to Georgia for 4.5 months and went to Kansas. I was in Kansas City, Kansas for about 8 years. I went across the river to the Missouri side for 2, and then I came back home in 2018.
What are some of the assignments you've had while in the U.S. Marshals? Have you done different things, and what kind of assignments? And tell everybody just a little bit about the Marshals and what they do.
The Marshals, we do a lot actually. Produce prisoners in court. That's our number one thing. Protect federal judges, including this Supreme Court. We do the witness protection program. We're in charge of the protection for the drug czar, who I don't even know who that is, but we are in charge of that. Anybody that has a federal warrant for their arrest, we also adopt state cases if they meet certain criteria. So we make a lot of arrests, especially in this area. It's pretty dangerous around here.
Didn't your SWAT come in handy? Were you a firearms instructor, or are you still?
I am. Also, since 2013, I'm a tactical training officer, which is a program they developed in 2011. We lost 4 deputies in 1 year. So they started a new safety program, implemented that, they selected people from across the country to join that program, and I was fortunate enough to be one of those, and I'm still currently doing that.
Good for you.
And what's your title right now?
Right now I'm a supervisory deputy marshal, and at the moment I'm an acting assistant chief. Hopefully that becomes permanent at some point.
I have successful partners.
Yeah.
That's
He raised me up.
perfectly clear.
Raised them right.
Raised me right.
That's cool. And then, but the U.S. Marshals just in town. So do you guys have police officers that are TFOs under your guys?
Explain what a
building?
TFO is.
It's a task force officer, so kind of like what I used to do in DEA, to where you're a policeman, but the police department loans you out to a federal agency. So all the federal agencies have some. Does the Marshals have those?
We do. We've got right now 4 St. Louis City policemen.
Anna Kimball's with you.
Anna Kimball, who
Matt Tessero.
Matt Tessero, James Thayer, Marcus Alston. But Anna actually was the one who, and she was in the 3rd district at the time, but she was protecting Gabe's house during the shooting that we were talking about earlier. So I've known Anna for a long time.
Yeah.
But she's still currently with us. We have roughly 14 St. Louis County policemen that are on our task force, and a St. Anne policeman, 2 Missouri State Highway patrolmen. So we have several.
And you guys also work in other task force with other federal agencies.
We do.
So like the FBI will have something going on. Like I know they have. You guys have. There's a task force group that has just about everybody in it.
Yeah.
Every department, every federal agency, and you guys take part in those too.
We do. Currently, we're actually involved in Operation North Star, which is a roundup that they just put out on the news recently. So we're just going out every day making arrests with that.
Who's the most dangerous bad guy you ever had to track down?
JJ.
Dillinger.
We had
late for work.
I'm never late.
no. JJ was always early. If it was anybody late, it was me. Recently, St. Francis County had, had an escape case where they had 5 inmates break out of the jail down there, and I was actually the commander of that particular escape, and 4 of them were violent sex offenders, and like extremely violent sex offenders, and then they picked up another guy along the way. So we tracked those guys. As part of a program the Marshals also have, we call it the RAM, but it's rapidly advancing manhunts. So we get involved right away, get our headquarters involved, any assets that we need, and track those guys. And the first guy we got, who wasn't a violent sex offender, we picked him up the 2nd day of the escape down at Poplar Bluff. Then the other 4 were actually still together in the same car, and they were pulled over in Ohio, and 2 of them were caught immediately in the car, 2 ran, and they ended up eventually getting caught the next day.
Wow.
And then, one other thing, I'm sorry to go back to a morose subject, but recently you guys had the Marshals had an incident in North Carolina, I believe.
North Carolina.
What were they? What were they? Who were they looking for? And just obviously not the details, but what went down there?
Yeah, so they were looking for a guy. He was on federal probation, or what we call supervised release. for firearms charges. They went to go arrest him. They were using technology to try to find a guy, and they located him. So they had a great perimeter set up, went to encounter him. He was outside already, saw him making the approach, went up to the second floor and opened fire on him as they were making the approach to the house. The problem with that incident in particular, which we're learning things from, there was no cover. The guys had nowhere to go. So as soon as it was a task force officer that was shot first. And as soon as he was shot, they were going in to get him out of there so they could render aid. He was rendering aid to himself, but they were trying to help him. And from the advantage that he had, he was.
And that's where the rest of them got shot, was trying to help trying to help the TFO.
Yeah, they were trying to help the TFO out. And we lost eight people got shot total. We lost one deputy, U.S. Marshal, and then 3 TFOs.
Jesus. That's just, and then like you said earlier, your guys are going after, warrants. Though, like a lot of us, in the detective bureaus are wanteds, people that we want to talk to, but you guys are going after people that have already been convicted, they got warrants on them, and that is way more dangerous, because those guys know they got something to lose when you guys go out, that they're going to jail for.
That was the single,
probably a
single loss of life for the marshals at one.
Yeah, casualty-wise at one time incident that was in the history of the marshals.
8 officers shot, 3 killed.
Yeah, 4 killed.
4 killed.
Damn.
So what do you got? 23 years total, right?
23 years total.
What is the best? Like everybody, you have certain eras, right?
Yeah.
And I think I know the answer, but what is your best era that you'll always remember? And
I can answer that for him.
Mobile reserve.
My mobile reserve. Yeah, it really was. Starting out, I had a great time. One of your guests was my FTO, Woody.
Woody.
Woody. He was my one of my FTOs coming up. My time in the 8th District was great. Weed and Seed was great for the most part until obviously the very end of it there. And then, but my time in Mobile Reserve by far and away. I've had a great career with the Marshals and wouldn't change anything, but I had the most fun. Anytime you heard the words "anybody up," it was time to go to work.
And explain that one, JJ.
We have our own channel we work off just for us. It's MR channel. And when anybody gets, this is when we had a lot of people. And if we had somebody that was running or car take off, that was what we'd hear. Anybody up? And we're like, yeah, where you at? And then we'd all head that way. That's good. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Anybody up?
Anybody up? We knew right then that was time to, it was gone.
And Brad, you got married, got kids, I believe, right?
I am. I'm married. I got 2 stepsons, and I've got a daughter. The oldest.
Didn't one of them just pass a driving test?
Oh, she's not that old.
Yeah, she is. Dang. Well, yeah, she just passed her driving test in April and has since hit a deer. And so we're doing pretty good so far.
All right. Now, if you do need a car, we suggest you go down to Schicker Automotive down on Kings Highway in Filer, and they're good to the police. And you can get your daughter a new car.
They have first responder discount.
Yep.
And if you mention the brighter side of blue, they'll double that discount. So,
Guess who got a new advertiser?
No, that's awesome. That's very good. Thank you so much for coming on and touting Mobile Reserve for JJ and bringing his spirits back up.
Thanks, Brad. I love having you. Anything else you want to end on or anything? No,
I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been a blast.
And I'll end with this. One of our things is a recruiting tool, right?
Yeah.
And Brad was an athlete back in the day, and the camaraderie. But just because you come on the police department doesn't mean you need to be a policeman the rest of your life.
Right.
You can use it to do stuff like the U.S. Marshals and DEA and the FBI.
Podcasts.
Or you can just lastly get a podcast.
I got one more thing. I want to say one more thing about Brad. That made me
he's still talking. He's in the middle of something.
No, he was. He was done. No, I don't care. It's my partner, not his.
Jesus.
No, Brad and I, we'd have a chase a lot of people, right? And we'd chase people. And my thing was if I caught them, I'd just kind of hit their foot and they'd trip them. Brad tackled everybody. We'd chase him down and tackle people. And I remember one time the guy was running at him. He kind of surprised him, and he tackles him like a linebacker. He just tackles him on the concrete. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, why are you tackling everybody? He goes, I don't know. I just like tackling people.
It
Well-
ends the problem.
It was two things. I like tackling people, and the second part of it was that hopefully they wouldn't run from the next policeman because of the
The tackle, like a
tackle.
linebacker.
They would remember that.
I wouldn't want to get tackled by you. But what was the name of that unit again? The RAM, Rapidly Advancing Manhunt.
Yes, it's
That should be a bar. The name of a bar.
it would be a good one.
Yeah. Bridget, you like that? Rapidly Advancing Manhunt. RAM.
That ain't right.
Sorry about the whole thing.
Sounds like a bachelorette party.
Thanks for coming on so much.
thanks, Bert.
You might have to
Appreciate it.
come back.
I would love to.
You can give us
thanks,
anything
Brad.
that happens
Thanks
to
for coming
Marshals.
on.
You can give a view of it.
All right, we're out.
Peace. Great to hear from Brad Owens.
That's your boy.
That's your boy.
That's your
Yeah.
the guy you mentored.
He was good.
Yeah, the
guy
you
It's great,
mentored.
great guy.
He's come a long
I
way.
had to get it in. That
Yes.
You mentored him.
Yes, I did. I didn't know I mentored him. I just thought I was
But
riding
you're
with
proud
him.
of that, aren't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
And you should be proud of that.
It was more of a joke that kind of rubbed Danny the wrong way. But
No. I believe you're a good mentor.
Thank God you're such a good mentor. Are you still mentoring? Or
I'm
how's that going?
No, I mentor like
I heard you're
8
crabby
guys.
as a motherfucker.
I am crabby, bitch. I am. I'm crabby as hell.
So mentoring's over.
Well, it's hard to be a mentor.
You've moved on.
Yes.
You've moved on.
I just try to get through the day now, every day.
You've done good. We need more Brad Owenses.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
All
we do.
right.
It's a
Tommy,
stud.
you know what
It's a
happens?
stud.
You know, communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live. Bottom line.
Especially when,
100%.
especially when you have good mentors.